Welcome back, guys. So today is the final episode of Life After Prep and kind of also the first episode of how to diet using carbon. I've already started my diet this week and one day in, I'm going really well. I mean, I've only had one day, so it's been good. Interestingly though, I can say that normally when I get to these kind of calories, I would be freaking out because I would already be hungry. But I think the best thing about having had this much time off, not worrying about, starving myself and actually eating a really good amount of calories is like, I don't feel hungry at all. And it's probably going to stay that way for some time. And that's because over the last 6 months, my leptin levels have recovered to an amazing amount. I think at the end of my last contest prep, I went in a week before. I think it was on my peak week. I went in on the Monday before my show and my leptin was at 0.4. That it could not be any lower. It's been nice to kind of see those come back up. I think I'm up to like 13 now, which is really good. That's something that just never happens. My hunger levels have been non-existent. It's great. I keep pushing plates away. I'm like, no, I'm not really that hungry. And it's been a really nice, a nice change. So yeah, I think that this first week won't be too difficult because my leptin levels should still be quite high and it will take a little bit for them to start moving in the downwards direction and to actually start, joining the dots and the brain going, okay, now I'm hungry. So last week was my final week of, I guess, a pretty grueling training block. I did actually have to pull out and not do any of my heavier lifts because I think I actually have a groin strain. And for anyone that's had one of those, I guess you can understand how it feels. So anything like that you're kind of pushing away, so like lateral abductions, like anything for glutes, anything that recruits like posterior isn't too bad. But like doing a Copenhagen plank or something that kind of grabs your adductor, and like where there's constant tension being applied, so like at the bottom of the squat when you start the concentric movement, where it's engaged and like contracted, it's just really painful. So I'm kind of disappointed that this week I can't really get in and go ham because I also went back to the gym for the first time today. It was weird. Lane and I worked out, we hadn't been in a gym for 3.5 months. So I had a really great session today, but I had to kind of skip over some lunges and some squat movements or hip hinge movements. So I'm hoping just with one more week of rest, it starts to feel a little bit better and I can start using some lighter loads. So fingers crossed, because the last thing you want is when you're starting a diet is to have some kind of an injury and you can't get out and train hard the way that you want to. Anyway, to kind of wrap up, I guess last week, it was a huge week in preparation for our BioLane, T-BioLane webinars. So we did a 6-hour free webinar on fat loss, everything to do with it from when it is a good time to start through to, how to get out of a fat loss phase and like maintain it. So it was incredible. We had over 7,000 people register during the course of the day. So over the 6 hours that we actually did the seminar, we had, would have been, I think, 1,700 people kind of live at one point. Keep in mind, many of the people that are registered when we started the seminar, the webinar, it was like 2 a.m. So a lot of people kind of attended late and then got to watch back the recordings. So that was incredible. I can't believe the amount of positive feedback that we had from that. Just lots of little nuanced things that people didn't know about or that we didn't cover, in some of our books. It was just awesome, and we are definitely planning on doing that again, and we'll probably target muscle gain in our next one, perhaps later in the year. So that kind of took place over the entire Saturday, and then we were all exhausted, ate some food, went to bed. It was a big day. So and then Sunday, that's our family day. So Lane and I spent some time with the kids, went out on the boat and kind of relaxed, but not really. I think anyone with kids, you just constantly running around after them. So it was nice. It was a very beautiful day. And I think the kids always have a lot of fun on the boat. I think so do we. It's nice to get outside and get outdoors because we are stuck in here. I was sadly disappointed because on Sunday night, I was like, it's my last night, and we didn't get home. Like, I don't think I got back from the grocery store until like 8:30. And then kids were in bed, and then we were both wiped out. I think after being outside in the heat, we just did nothing. And I was really hoping to do like a really awesome, like special dinner, just because it's my last day on really good calories. And, you know, it's been nice like trying new foods and just eating like calorie dense foods. So I think I actually went to bed at under 8 on Sunday because I was like, I'm too tired to even make something. I'm going to bed. So yes, the diet started yesterday, and so far so good. I even got to fit one of my cookies in a slightly smaller version, which was nice. So training is obviously not going to be affected just yet because it's only been 1 day. So I think what I'll do next is show you how I've set up fat loss using carbon. I'll go through, I guess, how I determine what my weekly averages were, and then going through that whole process of entering in your data, selecting the goal, and you can see what my new macros are for the start of this diet. Okay, so I'm going to have a look here at my weekly averages. So you can see here my total weekly calorie average was 2233 for the last week. So that falls within my compliance, I guess. My weekly protein intake, or my average, was 146 grams of protein. You can see there I had 1 day where I was a little bit lower in calories, and that's just because we were doing the seminars all day on Saturday and I didn't get a chance to eat. And then by the time I got home, I was exhausted. So then my carbohydrate average was 242. And then on my fats, my weekly average was 71. You can see that's kind of up and down throughout the week. So just to recap, my actual targets for this week were 150 protein, 252 carbohydrate, and 68 fat. Or a calorie goal of 2218. I guess we'll go to my check-in now. I'll do my check-in. So you can see here it's asking me if I want to do my check-in. So was I compliant to my macro targets? So here are the compliance ranges. So for calories, 2162 to 2273, yes. Protein, carbs, and fats were all within compliance. Now I'm just going to pop my weight in from Monday morning, and my body fat. I'm not close to my menstrual cycle, so I'm going to hit yes. And my check-in was complete. So everything looks pretty good. So now it's going to do its math. And so you can see here I've actually had a slight calorie decrease. So previously my macros were 2218, and you can see this week it's actually taken my calories down. So it says, looks like things didn't go as planned. Your weight has gone above the acceptable range, so for this reason, we're going to give you a calorie decrease. Now, here's what I will say about taking your weight. So this week, I only did one weigh-in, and it was on my check-in day. Now, I know that the day before, my fiber intakes were really, really low, so I hadn't been to the bathroom at all, so that was the first thing. Second, when I took my weight on Monday morning, before I checked in, so I usually take my weight straight after I've trained in the morning, and I'm completely fasted from food. Maybe I've had a little bit to drink during my training session, so maybe a bottle of water or something like that. And I've also already done a walk. When I took my weight for this particular day, it was 73.7, significantly higher than past weeks. And that was because I didn't train on Monday. It's my rest day. I didn't go for my walk. I just got on the scales first thing in the morning, and I already had something to drink. I'd had a giant smoothie and coffee. So my weight on that day or that morning was artificially elevated. Now, I can probably make some estimates and put in what I think was my actual weight based on the volume of food and fluid that I had consumed, but I just went in and put my actual weight in. So here, the coach has done what it's meant to do. Technically speaking, I've gained weight since my last check-in, but because I only had that one data point, it's not accurate. It's not my true weight. And that brings me to one of the important things about weighing in frequently, because now you have more data points, so that if you did have an outlier, like mine was on my check-in day, that outlier is kind of drawn back and your average becomes more true to your actual weight. So if I was still doing maintenance, if I followed these calories for this week, it's very likely that my weight would actually drop down once I did things more regularly. So if I, did my weigh-in at the normal time, etc., etc. And if that was the case, then carbon would eventually increase my calories at the next check-in back to what they were based on my weight change. So the good thing though is that it doesn't continue to do that if you only had one weigh-in. It's going to look at a series of weights past, and it will take, not only does it consider your weekly average, it's also looking at past weeks as well to make that decision about whether we increase or decrease calories. Okay, so here is me going to change my goal. So are you sure you want to change your goal? Yes, my goal is to lose weight, so I'm going to select that. Put in my metrics. So today the weight on the day that I checked in was 73.7. What is my goal weight? So I'd like to probably get around to about 64, 65 kilos again. So it's going to be, a good 10 kilos. We're pushing 20 pounds here. Do I know my body fat percentage? Yes, I use my digital calipers. Now, how would you like us to use or calculate your new target? So using the current metabolism, I will give you a more accurate macro target if you have been checking in consistently. But if you've been coming off a long break, instead estimating maintenance may not be accurate anymore, and calculating a new maintenance is recommended. So for me, if I go by the check-in that I have just done, it's probably going to give me an inaccurate maintenance calories because I haven't consistently been checking in using carbon. I normally do my own assessment. I use my coach I use Carbon Diet Coach for tracking, and then occasionally I'll do a check-in and just see what it's been giving me. So if I use that, or if I'd been somebody that was really inconsistent and just not using the coach as often, then it's probably not going to have a true gauge on my current metabolic rate. So instead, I'm going to choose calculate new. So the next thing it's going to do is ask about my lifestyle. So I'm going to describe my activity, and then it's also asking to describe my exercise. And then the last point here is me selecting my metabolism. And then it's asking how fast do I want to lose weight? So I actually have the option of picking how much weight I'd like to lose each week. So you can see here on the sliding scale, you can kind of drag it up and down. And for me, I'm going to go on the conservative end. So somewhere around 0.6 of a kilogram per week, or just on a pound per week if you use that metric. So there's my new diet calories, 1597. 172 protein, 141, 38 fat was the default setting. Now that's based on the ratios of macros that I had previously been using. So what I'm actually going to do is make an adjustment to those macros, and I'm going to give a slight decrease to my protein. So I'm going to bring it down to 150, and then I'm going to make some changes to my carbs and fats. So it's a ratio that I'm actually able to adhere to. So I'm going to pick 140 carbs and around 48 fats. And I think that will be relatively easy for me to do. So now we're back into my diary view. Let's scroll across to today. And then what I'm going to do next is just go and reset my calorie planner, because it automatically uses the previous week's ratios to set the new week's target. So I'm just resetting that so that all of the days my target is exactly the same. So there you have it, guys. That is my new fat loss target. So in order for me to lose 0.6 of a kilogram per week, my targets are 1597. So you can see I made some adjustments to my macros. I would love for this first week to go so well that I exceed that and I actually get a calorie boost. That'd be nice. But I have no idea. I really don't. So my maintenance calories have obviously been sitting around 22. So I've taken a fairly significant decrease. So we've taken just on 600 calories, or just under 600 calories. So I should be able to achieve this quite quickly. This week I actually have done a couple of different things, I guess, with my nutrition. just to make sure that it stays exciting. First off, I had to do a lot more planning and just thinking about, okay, what are the most important things that I think I need to keep in my diet to feel like I'm satiated and that I feel full. So for me, like having my like miracle noodles in at least one meal per day is kind of a given, like that's just going to happen. I also make sure that I have 2 savory meals every day, so like big heated meals. To me, that is more satisfying than like making myself eat a salad or something that I don't particularly care for. So by having hot meals that contain a lot of veggies and some sauce, like stir fry sauces, I do feel like that really hits the spot. You know what I mean? I also wanted to be able to have some kind of like a small treat every day too. So working out, what's something that you really want to be able to have, what are the macros, or what can we get the macros down to so that you can still accommodate that. And then whatever else fits, essentially. So I'm very conscious of trying to make sure that I've got a good variety of different protein sources. So over the course of 7 days, I'm daily having a red meat sauce. I usually have like something that uses ground beef, whether that's like a burger, like a homemade burger, or some beef mince, or like, anything. There are so many options. And then I also try to have fish once or twice a week. So we often do the poke bowls. You've probably seen me on social media talking about those. And then, of course, shakes. There's probably 1 shake a day at least. And then I'll also try to have like an egg product or eggs itself, like a whole egg. So protein sources are as varied, I suppose, as I possibly can, just to keep it interesting. Like I get food fatigue, so I try to eat the same thing every single day to kill me. And I think a lot of people are the same. We do tend to gravitate towards the same types of foods very often. But I think, having a structured meal plan can be a little overkill for some people, but I do like structured flexibility. So, having the freedom to kind of eat a variety of my favorite foods, but, not giving myself so much flexibility that it's just an overwhelming amount of, work to do. So I have my go-tos. I think I've been able to incorporate a cookie every evening with a little bit of ice cream. The portion is a lot smaller though than what I would have been doing in my off season. So, I mean, it's still very satisfying. I look forward to it. It's something sweet that I can go to bed and then I'm like, yep, that was good. I'm done for the day. So meal planning's definitely been something that I thought more about just starting this fat loss phase. I also got contacted by a company called Flex Pro Meals. So they do, frozen, fresh delivered meals, and they've been awesome so far. So I actually kept those. They got sent out to me last week, and I was going to have them. And then I thought, hang on, you're starting your diet next week. Keep those because that's something new that you can look forward to. It's not something you've had before, and it'll probably help you be a little bit more compliant. So I hung off, didn't eat them over the weekend, and I've had those for the last 2 days. So that's Flex Pro Meals. I believe I have a discount code. I think it's Holly10. I will double check and I'll put it in the description if you're interested in checking that out. I'll put the website link so that you can have a look at their meal options. But they've got a bunch of lower calorie meals that are under 400 calories per serving. And then they've got some for bigger portions, bigger bodies. So, and they've been really tasty. I've had like bolognese, a couple of different Thai style meals. What else did I choose? Different stir fries, different pastas, but again, they're kind of all under 35 gram carbohydrate per serve. So I can kind of have 4 or 5 meals and still be compliant with my 140 gram carbohydrate target. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of the main things that I've been conscious of, this week, starting dieting and just not reaching into the bag of M&Ms if they're open, just looking at them while I wait for my cookies to cook. So I think that's the biggest thing. It's just not snacking anymore. I can't get away with it because I don't have the calorie flexibility. So yeah, as far as training is concerned, I've got my new training blocks. They're much the same. I'm not adding in cardio yet. I'm just trying to stick to my 10,000 steps per day, just be consistent. And then when I'm no longer losing any more weight on those calories, and when my calories do get lower, where I'm like, oh, I really don't want to keep making adjustments just from nutrition, I'll then start incorporating a little bit more cardio, and probably cardio in the form of higher intensity, just so that it's more efficient use of my time. I don't have much free time, to be honest. So it'll be high intensity, get a good calorie burn, and then I can be done, rather than going for like a 2-hour walk, which is probably going to accrue the same amount of calories if I did like a 35-minute high intensity workout. So that will be my method of choice when it comes to changing my training. And I think that's it. So guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave those below. I know that I have just started my 12-week Get Lean and Train with me. So I believe, you guys are just going to miss out. I was going to say Wednesday, the discounts end on the Buy Lane Workout Builder. We had 20% off the Workout Builder. So that's the program that I'm going to be using that is available to everybody. So there's 4 months of training programs, so you can kind of join me in that. So you're going to be watching this on Thursday, so you can still join up and sign up. The discount has ended. But to get involved in the Get Lean Train With Me program, all you have to do is go to the Buy Lane website. Again, I'll put the links below if you want to join me in that program. We have had an enormous number of people sign up to do this. I think we have had over 300 or 400 people join the Workout Builder, which is awesome. And we have been getting a lot of activity on the Facebook pages for the challenge. So it seems like there's a really strong community, a close community of people that are all doing this and kind of supporting each other over the next 12 weeks and hopefully beyond that too. So if you want to get involved, all you need to do is go to the link in the description. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to sharing my progress with you next week.